Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and that is Dylan. And today we're going to be talking about some interesting rumor news going around. And I want to open this episode with this preface right here. This is based on a concept art put out by the Spider-Man No Way Home Won't Stop Hyping Spider-Man No Way Home Twitter accounts.
Right.
Do they have a source this time, or they just say, we found this?
We found this. That's where this came from. It was, we
Okay.
found this. So.
Oh, can I just jump in really quick? I saw that there's one account that's like particularly prevalent when it comes to these kinds of rumors and scoops and exclusives, as they put it. I saw somebody called them out. And they posted that Dr. Manhattan meme at them. Apparently, if you criticize them on Twitter, they'll just block you.
Well, of course.
Oh.
Like if
Obviously.
you say, if you say like, do you have a link? Blocked.
No, bye.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so the concept art that was released shows that at one point in development, there was a consideration that America Chavez was going to be the one to bring Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire over. Hold on, Dylan, you can splice this in. Spoilers if you still have not found out what No Way Home is about.
No, they've seen it. There's no way.
You know there's going to be one guy
almost
in
a
the
month.
comment.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah. I'm sure there are people who are just upset at the idea, like, because, you know, there are people that there was a discussion a few years ago. This is completely off topic, but welcome to the channel. There was a whole discussion like a couple years ago of like, we need to make like rules. How long after a movie comes out?
I saw that recently.
Should you wait?
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
asked that question. I put a tweet out being like, what is the actual answer to this?
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
think it
Like-
depends on the severity of the spoiler. Like,
Right. Well, and the like cultural impact. You know, it's like if you remember that Natalie Portman movie about men who go into a rift and die, like Arrival or whatever it was called, like or
that's
I can't remember what
not
the
Natalie
hell it was
Portman.
called. No, that's the other one. I'm thinking of the other.
Okay.
Arrival's the one with the other person. Doesn't matter. The point being, like,
Yeah, I can't remember any names right now.
niche sci-fi movies, you know, don't be a jerk. But like the biggest movie in the world for
Right.
the year, a week or two is okay. Like,
I mean, if you're on Twitter at this point, Andrew Garfield's everywhere. So,
right, like he's doing the
Yeah.
press tour for the movie that's already out. Yeah,
but anyway, so the released concept art, I'm going to air quote this again
Right.
because we're
could
going
be
off
nothing.
of this could be nothing, shows that America Chavez was at one point in the concept art for this movie.
makes sense to me, honestly. Like it really
It
does.
but I also feel like it was thrown out really early on.
Yes, I think that was like when the script had been written and nothing had been shot, and they were just like, let's just throw everything at the wall. Like if we're gonna put Daredevil in this movie, let's put America Chavez in there too, because how else are they gonna get through portals and stuff? Especially if we have to get Doctor Strange out of here. And then I'm sure somebody was like, why doesn't Ned just use the sling ring or something? Like
Yeah,
they just
that's a good point.
The only reason why I think at some point this was the actual plan,
Yeah.
even if it was very early on, is because it really doesn't make sense for Ned to suddenly be able to use the sling ring without a problem.
Well,
But
it-
it's a great MacGuffin for the movie to go, we don't have to explain anything if Ned can just do it.
Yeah,
Like-
just literally Ned says, my grandma says that I have a little bit of magic, and
Yeah,
like,
it's like
okay,
two lines
that's
of
enough.
dialogue.
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that sets
It's so
it up.
much
and it's like,
cleaner
oh,
than
okay,
introducing
sure.
a whole new character that needs, and because the whole thing is basically, if America Chavez was in the movie, it is basically like a soft prequel to Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
Because she's in that, and she's going to be a much bigger player. Doctor Strange obviously was a major player in this movie too. So yeah, I could imagine them being like, no. Like it's almost like Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3 are like one big movie that
Yeah.
just like
And I
carries
think-
over narrative.
Yeah.
That has been their plan for a while, because they have been doing these like sort of like streets up from Disney Plus up into movies, where it's been like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, WandaVision and Loki are gonna lead into No Way Home, which leads into Multiverse of Madness, which leads into God knows what. So
That's right.
this makes sense to me.
I want to comment. So you should have put the concept art on the screen at this point, Dylan. It looks like they're on bumper cars at a carnival.
Yeah, where are they?
I
It
don't
looks
know.
like Betty is there as well for some reason.
Well, sure, because
Yeah, it's like all because they've also got Flash in the other bumper car.
Yeah,
That wouldn't surprise me
Yeah, I
if
guess
they
that's who
were
that is.
players in this movie back in the day. Like, they were
some
major
point.
characters in the last movie. They were set up in
Right.
the first movie. They were just thrown out in this movie because they were like, the major through line is MJ and Ned. That's it. Mm-hmm. Like, they just... There was going to... You could see there was going to be character development for Flash from the second movie into this movie.
Yeah.
And they just went, nah.
Well, apparently, another one of the leaks is that there was a lot of cut scenes involving him.
I'm not
being
surprised.
like leading into
makes
more like
sense.
I'm his best friend and blah blah blah. And I could see a lot of that just hitting the cutting room floor when they're like, so we're at 2 hours 45 minutes and we have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Why are we putting in?
Right. We're at 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we shot all the Toby and Andrew stuff. Like, there is no more of them.
Yeah.
So the only thing we have left is stuff to cut.
Right.
Right.
So,
So
yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, like,
I do think
it.
that if this existed at any point, this was a very early on rough draft.
Oh, yeah.
Because there would have had to
Totally.
have been a whole. Honestly, I'm against them having to explain a whole character. You would have had to take 5 to 10 minutes to explain America Chavez.
Absolutely. Or it would have been really weird. Like, she would have shown up and been like, I'm America Chavez. No time to explain. See you in Multiverse of Madness. Like, that would have been pretty lame.
Especially if that was how they brought in Toby and I brought you 2 more Spider-Man.
Yeah, bye. Like, what? However, I will say this. I'll bet that there was not, like, there might have been a script, but not even, because I would not be surprised, because I've seen concept art from Marvel before, and it looks a lot like this, where it's like, just poorly Photoshop the actors' faces onto these, like, these stock images and stuff. And, you know, the fact that it is in a carnival is very Hollywood in terms of the set has to be exciting. It can't just be, if it's going to be a scene of dialogue, at least make the set interesting. That's an old school Hollywood way of doing it, where it was like, you know, if a character's going to sit down and talk to another character, obviously you could sit them down in like a diner or a bedroom or a room of some kind with like a window. But Hollywood's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Could they talk on a Ferris wheel? Could they talk at a sporting event? You know, like,
That's actually one thing I liked about No Way Home. The big reveal of Toby and Andrew Garfield was just in an apartment.
I agree.
So the focus was all on their reveal instead of it being like in the middle of a battle or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I
Right.
saw a behind the scenes video of them shooting the Andrew Garfield scene, and I was like, wow, like they, you know, the set is just made to look like an apartment. I'm like, how quaint. Like seeing it from like another vantage point, I was like, it's really cool how this huge moment happened in this really humble location.
I think if I'd be willing to bet that in an early draft of this script, that girl who we think is maybe Zelma from the comics in Doctor Strange's house, that
yeah.
was probably America, and it was probably like, you know, because he has that whole thing on the balcony where he's like, it's not my problem, and then he walks
Right.
off. And then, you know, you slow zoom on America and she's like,
like,
and then she like joins them down in the basement
Yeah.
and is like, I can help. I'm a magic
Yeah.
person.
Totally.
I could see that. That'd be the way they would introduce her. Because we all agreed that it was kind of weird that he had these 2 like interns with no
Yeah, they were just
explanation at all. Like,
I'll be
Were
honest.
they Wong's
legit-
interns?
They were, and they were moving in unison. I just thought they were projections. Like I thought they were just like I can make interns that shovel. They shovel the same space at the same time.
Oh, God.
And then it was like, oh, there's Zelma. Okay, like Zelma and somebody else. Like sure, but yeah, I didn't think twice about it. And I'm really glad that she's not in the movie. Like not Zelma, but America, because as we said, keeps it trim, keeps it tight, makes it about
yeah.
the characters. Like makes it about Peter and his journey.
Yeah.
That's it.
our biggest concern leading up to this movie, every time that we would talk about the rumors, is
How big is
how
it?
many people are in
much.
this movie?
Yeah, and this concept art suggests more than we thought.
Right.
If it's accurate.
Which is like, you know-
I do want to say it again though. There's a very high chance this is fake because the Marvel concept arts are
Very
not
cheap
difficult to
looking.
fake.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I you know, again, like I think Sal, you said it, like it could very easily have been, you know, something very early on,
Right.
just because it's, I think as evidenced by Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, studios kind of can't help but just want to put everything in the movie.
I wonder if
Even if
that's
it
a lot
doesn't
of what happens.
matter.
Like, I actually wonder if that's where Feige's control really comes in, because the
Yeah.
studio makes the one that they think is going to do well. What if we have everything? What if we also hint at Vulture and also hint at another Venom? And like, what if we put them all in? And Kevin Feige's like, whoa.
Yeah, let's dial it back.
Let's just dial.
You're not going to sell in like a big wig Hollywood studio executive office. They hear like, oh, this movie is about the journey that Peter Parker goes on to, finally become a true Spider-Man and give up everything for the greater good or whatever.
Yep.
They're like, oh, that doesn't sell a ticket. You know what does sell a ticket? Putting Green Goblin and 3 other Spider-Man in it. That's what they hear. And they're like, whoa, dollar signs.
Well, I imagine if they're old hat at that. They're like, what's the story about? And they're like, okay, it's about Peter's journey, blah blah blah. And they're like, okay, and he's like, and there's going to be 2 more Spider-Man in it. What? Like, I got you. Like, yeah, no, they save the big explosion for the end, just to be like, this is how we're going to sell them. Like, I'm an artist and I want to tell this like vulnerable story about a poor kid, but also I want to sell $1 billion worth of tickets, and I'm going to do that by putting 2 more Spider-Man in this movie.
What if the early version, it was America Chavez primarily, and Doctor Strange was just against this whole thing? Because if you look at this concept art, she's got the Darkhold, or the book, or whatever they're using.
Yeah, it'd be amazing
Ain't
if
the Darkhold.
Wong was never
complicated.
Sorcerer Supreme. Like, Wong was never Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Strange was. The door opens, and he's not there, and it's just America Chavez, like, scooping up snow, and Doctor Strange is like, I don't have anything to do with this. Get the hell out of here.
Like, this was their original idea of not putting Doctor Strange in here, but using this as the back door for American Chavez, and he was the cameo guy.
Yeah.
Who was chasing around Spider-Man, and then he just got left in the mirror dimension.
Since the MCU seems to be going in the direction of, like, the young female replacement of, like, every movie.
I wonder if that... I would be curious to see Benedict Cumberbatch's contract, and if he had already signed on years ago, and maybe this was a backup plan if negotiations didn't work out. They were like, oh, if we can't get him back for a cameo role in this movie, let's just throw America in, and it'll give him a little more explanation to it.
Yeah.
So you're saying, like, what if this was like that many years ago? Like, this was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they plan these movies well in advance, especially with concept art. It's just like, especially like fight scenes and big moments, like those are, prevised concept art, like written down somewhere in advance of even shooting or like, announcements or anything.
Totally.
So, all right, well, that's the rumors.
There it is.
Would it have been cool? If done correctly, I think this would have been cool. I do think we got the better answer though. I do think the Doctor Strange.
Totally.
And also I want to say, like, I know you said cameo. It's not really a cameo. He's just like the 3rd character in the movie. Like,
Doctor Strange's in the movie. Like, he's a major
he's
player
for sure in the
movie.
but I said cameo because it's like
He just shows up in the 3rd act. Like,
right, like it's a thing in Marvel contracts of like, you get your own movies, and then like you get like cameo roles, which is just
right, like
you're in the movie, but it's not your movie.
Technically, Robert Downey Jr. is a cameo in Civil War, even though it's literally the second lead.
I do love the contracts. Because remember early on, I'd be like, this actor's got 9 movies with Marvel, and we'd all go, okay, so that's 3 movies.
1, 2, 3, like, yeah. Now it's got TV shows and plus series. I can imagine negotiations especially after the Scarlett Johansson debacle, them going like,
right,
okay, I will sign on for 3 movies and 1 entire show.
Yeah.
Starring
I could
me.
see that. I mean, based on the way all of the early contracts went, like even someone as pivotal as Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, the characters that were core, there was constant headlines that they wanted more money and they wanted to leave. So I don't doubt every contract now is ironclad with what you will and will not be doing and what those penalties are.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta buy a 5th house.
Yeah.
Obviously. You gotta buy 6 more boats.
I need another boat.
That was we're gonna end this video with that, but that was the statement that the guy that played Poe, they said, would you ever come back for
Oscar
another
Isaac?
Yeah, he was like, will you ever come back for a Star Wars movie? And his response was, if I need another house, I will.
There you go. Of course.
Fair enough, Moon Knight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, all right, we are Absolutely Marvel at DC. Join the Absolute Armada today by hitting like, subscribe, and clicking that notification bell. We bring you like 5 to 7 to 10 videos a week of us 3 guys sitting around talking about rumors, theories, and what's going on in the world of superhero TV shows and movies. sometimes video games. That went quiet the last 2 months.
Yeah.